everyone, welcome to the channel again. So today we'll be studying our next literary theory, which is feminist literary theory. And let's start it with the basic question that what is feminism before even studying feminist literary theory. Feminism is the simple belief that men and women should have equal rights, equal opportunities, and equal value as a human being. That's it. At its core, this is feminism. Now, what does all this have to do with the literature? The answer would be everything, because the job of literature is not just to entertain people only. In fact, literature is a way of society to teach its member that how does the whole world functions, who is the subject, who is the object, who overpowers whom, whose voice is heard and whose voice is unheard. All those things, all these ideologies, structure pattern, all those are based on these facts. For 1,000 years, literature is teaching women that you are secondary. This is the most important lesson that has been taught by literature, because all the stories, all the things are revolving around this structure only. Though this is not directed as clearly, but it has been seen through characters, stories, plot structure, everything that a literature can contain. So now, feminist literary theory, it questions it. It says that let's just read it, let's just have different perspective, let's just try to understand that what has been happening, let's just change what is not fulfilling the equal measures. This is exactly what feminist literary theory analyzes. I will take 2 to 3 examples which will help you feel that we are talking about what world and how this theory is surviving in the world, and what world we are talking about when we are dealing about feminist literary theory. The first example would be that in England during 1882s and 1880s, when once a woman is married to a man, then all the property, all the money, anything the woman is having, it is absorbed by the men automatically, because a woman is having no laws, no nothing support from the legislature perspective. The second example would be like in India. It is called, or it has been described, that there are three voices, or there are three stages that occurs in a woman's life. The first stage is when a woman is born and she is dependent on her father. After that, she gets married and she becomes dependent on her husband. If her husband dies, then she gets dependent on her son. These are eventually three phases. Even in Manu Smriti, it says that it is the woman should be dependent, or the woman should never be independent. It has been said in Manu Smriti, that was worshipped by many male and many people during the time it was written and it was published. The third is like in Oxford, women were admitted in the university in 1920s, and in Cambridge, women were admitted, or women were allowed to take admission in 1948. Before that, they were allowed to take lectures, take exams, pass with flying colors, but they were not awarded with any certificate, any awards, anything that can officially help them if they go out and pursue some work, because they used to think that it is of no use to award them and to certify them. These are the three incidents which I told you to make you feel that this is the world from where feminist literary theory tried to emerge in. And this is the place, this is the world where women were not aware at all, that they were not even aware of the fact that these all the theories, these all the patterns and the rules that are being imposed upon them are not at all natural. These all are constructed. And by the way, this constructed concept, it has been given by Simone de Beauvoir, which we will study further. So these are the concepts which shows you that how the world was operating at that time. Now moving further, we have some of the writers who worked for feminist theory, and from whom this theory emerged and took shape and educated women for their own rights. The first is Virginia Woolf's A Room of One's Own. Now, Virginia Woolf asked one powerful question: why were there so few great women writers? She says that it is not because of lack of talent, it is not because of lack of intellectuality, it is because very less paths have been shown to women. I mean, Virginia Woolf was lucky, or you can say that she was privileged, that she had some private source of money. She had a room of her own. She had economic independence. That's why she could think of that way, and she could publish this, and could tell everyone that this is also the side which should be seen. She even uses a fictional character, Judith Shakespeare, who happens to be the fictional sister of Shakespeare, William Shakespeare. And she tries to portray that if both of the brother and sister were given the equal gifts by God, that both of them were intellectual, but one is allowed to study and other is not, then what happens? So she says that Judith has been gifted by the same intellectuality as William Shakespeare, but she is not allowed to study. So she escapes to London, and there she tries to join theater, but she was being laughed at by theater manager. Then she happens to meet a person, or a guy who feels very pity on her. Eventually she becomes pregnant and she killed herself. Now Wolf tries to portray one thing over here, that if a woman even tries to run away from the situation and tries to do something for her own good, then this is what the society had offered for them at that point of time. This is only the fictional character that she has used to make people understand that if even they try, they don't have any option left for them. Next, we have Simone de Beauvoir, who had written The Second Sex in 1949. There is one most important line from this work, which is, "One is not born, rather becomes a woman," which directs towards the fact that the identity of women is not natural, it is constructed when a girl child is born. Because when both the baby, girl child or male boy child, when both of them are born, it is told to them that you are a girl and you have to be soft, you have to be quiet, you have to listen to certain things, you are not allowed to go out, you can't take opinions, you can't give opinions, you can't give suggestions. These are all the things that are said to them and that are imposed on them. And eventually women felt that this is the whole truth, this is the truth they can even think of. Next we have is Henry Miller's Tropic of Cancer. She took the works of many great writers to analyze, and she found out that the one thing that is there was the personal is political. She said that all the text of the great writers, in that, what are women doing? I mean, they are treated as objects of the male dominated society. There has been used the verbs which can only justify them as the sexual objects, as something which you can only take them as submissive in that dominated world. So the next we have is Ellen Showalter's gynocriticism. Gynocriticism is like reading the works which are produced by women for the better understanding. Ellen Showalter talked about three phases. The first one is feminine phase, in which the women tries to copy the works or the concept, the content which has been written by male dominated world or the males, so that the women gets accepted in the wider world. The second is feminist phase, in which women tries to talk about the how they don't want to be the subordinate, how they don't want to feel dismissive, and how they want to stand for the morally correct things. For example, Jane Eyre, she tries to stand up for her own right, and that's why it is considered at that point of time that how she could even think of it. The third is the female phase, in which women turned inwardly, that what do they want to feel. For example, Virginia Woolf's Mrs. Dalloway. It is not about any war, any history, any male dominated society. No. It is all about a day in Mrs. Clarissa's life. And it is all about that how she is going, what is she thinking, how is she dealing with certain things of domestic help, of domestic lives, all those of things. It is all about that. And it eventually led to the invention of the stream of consciousness technique that worked wonder. Actually later many of the male writers even used it, like James Joyce. So that was about Ellen Showalter. The next we have is Helen Siku, who talked about a creature feminine, which was like mostly talked about that women should write differently than men. Now, what do you mean by differently here? That because at that point of time, whatever man was writing, it was logical, it was concrete, it was in order, chaos free. So she says that women should write in different order. They don't have to worry that they have to sound like male. They have to write what they feel, because all of these things have been different for both of the genders. So this was all about feminist literary theory. The whole concept which we have studied today, it all points towards one fact, that how women have faced so much struggle during their lives to come at this point of time which we are living today. And even today, like most of the parts are true even today. This is all about feminist literary theory. It is like questioning the canon. Now canon is something like whatever we study in our syllabus, in our UGC net syllabus or anything. All the writers which we have in our syllabus are great writers, although, but just check how many of male authors you have and how many female authors you have. You will get to know the difference, that still it is not about you have to lower the standard. It is about that the new measures, the new checklist should be made to consider the great literature, because it has all been done by the publishers, by the reviewers, by the authors, or whoever are making this known as the great literature, whoever is setting the standards for the literature to be called as great literature, for the literature to be taught in the institution. They maximum all happen to be the male. So this is all what feminist literary theory questions, and this is what they want to change for the both genders, that they must be given equal rights to stay in the same society. That's all for today. We will see you soon in the next video.